Hello, 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 everyone. Okay, so the PlayStation monthly games, they came out, and I finally had a chance to play them. I didn't even realize that Stanley Parable was on the monthly list, and this is one of my all-time favorite games. I remember when I was a kid watching Markiplier play it for the first time along with Jacksepticeye and a couple of other individuals. PewDiePie also, I believe. And yes, I have indeed played it before. Computer is Bailey, wow. Barely visible. Please enter the correct time. Boo! BB! How you doing? I guess I'll make it... You know what? I will make it the normal time for right now. Whoops. Wrong way. Okay. I will be trying to go for the platinum. I know that I'm going to have to do one... There are like a couple of little trophies. I'm trying to remember what they are for this one. I know it has to do with like going to every single number slider. There are like a ton of really boring ones, like hitting door 430 times. Dude, you got 3 hours of sleep? Oh, BT dubs. Cal, I played Phasmo a little bit ago, and I got everything that I needed, including the spirit books. Because I'm built different. Just ignore how boring this is. It is not my fault. It's doable. It's doable, you guys. It's doable. I don't need it to be that opaque. Opacity. No, I just want it to be normal. Here we go again. I can't just hold it down either because it'll skip numbers. So, the game audio is going to go bye-bye for a second, but don't worry. It's fine.
This is the story of a man named
Shut up, narrator.
This is the story of a man named Stanley.
This is the story of how I met your mother. I totally did it without you, yeah. I did it without you. It wasn't out of malice. I knew that you had done the challenge last night.
This is the story of a...
Or maybe it was done out of malice. After you went and you got a wraith? Absolutely the heck not. For everything I went through. Uh, uh. I love how on the computer you can see me changing the setting. Just in case you guys didn't catch on to that. How much longer do I need to do this? Ah! Okay. It did not work. I am wondering if maybe I accidentally missed one of these, or maybe I have to be in the game. I might have to begin the game first. Which means I have to do all of that all over again.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy.
Okay, Stanley.
And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Yeah, no, so TikTok, it's complicated, but yeah, technically it's banned on the 19th. They are trying to bring up to the Supreme Court. Why am I going so fast?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Oh, please. Are you really just doing this for the trophy?
Yes.
Click a door 5 times? Is that all you think a trophy is worth? No. I can't just give these merits away for such little effort. A measly 5 clicks.
Oh, I'm going all the way to
Click the door
430.
20 times. I would say that's the kind of effort that warrants recognition.
I have to say, I'm still not feeling the satisfaction of...
Don't even start, Cal. Don't even start.
Perhaps 50.
Not worth it.
Yes, almost certainly.
I'm
50.
definitely past 50 clicks, excuse you.
No, I'm still not feeling it. I want this trophy to have meant something. It has to be a true reward for valiant effort. I want to see some hustle, Stanley. I want to see commitment, a willingness to go all the way no matter the cost. Why don't you go put 20 clicks into door number 417?
No. Oh, wait. 417. Wait, I do actually have to follow what he says here. 417. I need to fix the, camera sensitivity. Holy smokes. Okay, that's a bit better. Four one seven. Oh, there it is.
Oh, great. Now, go click a few times on door 437.
437. It's this way, I think. Nope. I was wrong. I wasn't.
Excellent. I think we're getting somewhere. Now, door 415. Let's give it 10 clicks or so.
10 clicks for Gryffindor. 415. 415.
Now, back to door number 437.
Alright, I'm on it. I'm on it. I love this game.
Let's see. How about you click on, well, I don't know, the copy machine?
Copy. Where is it? There are a couple of them.
All right, back to room 417. I'm really feeling it now. I think we're getting somewhere.
Leave this one. Right
Okay,
here.
now go climb on employee 419's desk.
This one. Come on, let me up. Let me up.
Yes,
There it goes.
this is great. You're putting it all on the line, Stanley. I like that. All right, let's keep it up. Go give me a few clicks on door 416. We've almost got it. Now the copy machine, do that one again.
He's so ecstatic.
Finish it off, Stanley. 5 clicks on door 430. Yes! We did it! Oh, wow. That felt amazing. Oh, you really earned
All right.
it, Stanley.
So, let me explain. For this one, we have to get the true ending. I remember that. Test trophy, please ignore. Test trophy. I think you have to do this later in the game. I could easily do this one again. This one's pretty simple. Just go, you close it, you open it back up. Oh, here we go again. What is it, 625? Can I just say something? Go ahead. What do you have to say? What do you gotta say? Thank you for actually setting the clock both times you've booted up the game. A lot of people don't take that so seriously. They just leave the clock set at 12 and call it a day. But you're actually taking the time to set the clock, and I appreciate that. That's how I know that you care about this experience. You're paying attention. I don't even have any way of knowing if the times you're setting are correct. Tell you what, I'll make you a deal. Since you've been so cooperative, next time you boot up the game and see the screen, just set the clock to your favorite time. Go ahead, pick whichever time you want, even if it's not the correct time. You've earned it. Alright, I'll let you back to the video game now. I love this game.
This is the story.
We're doing this again. You're bringing that sensitivity down. Oh, I bet one of them is reticle speed. Yeah, okay. Alright. Reticle speed. That's the one that I didn't have. Did they? Send pics or it didn't happen. I like this around 50-ish. 60 works. Hi, Mimi. Hi, sweet baby girl. Oh my gosh, the size of this reticle, holy smokes. Scent thou say. Fishware, oh, Discord. Oh, they're adorable! I hope that it happens. Ever get so tired of hitting the button? I did this to myself, though. I have no one to blame but me. Yeah, we can't, it can't go over, like, 600. Even 500, right? Like, okay, no, 600. Can't go over 600. Okay, alright, we're good. I actually do like having this so I know where I'm pointed at. I don't have to guess, but I don't need it that big. That should be fine. This is just a measly 100. I can handle that after 540. Can't believe that they made this a trophy. But it's okay. I get it. That's good enough. Dude, get Sua. Get Sua. If you want Sua, get Sua. Alright, here we go again.
This is the story of a man named Stanley.
This is a story of how many menus can I toggle through. This is the story of I really detest this trophy. I hated it, and I think they had something similar in the original. I definitely remember door 430. That one lives on in my memory.
This is the story of a man named Stanley.
I'm not even on the narrator portion anymore. What are you talking about? Oh, what a cute loaf. I mean, there's going to be a couple of similar sites, but I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm trying not to think. Okay, Mother Chucker, where else? Okay, I was about to say. I do not. Well, you know what? I actually like having a bigger field of view. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Oh, geez. Yeah, no. Maybe less field of view.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Aww. Let's see what else we have in here. How do I get the you can't jump on this, though? Because I honestly don't know. You can't jump. Trophies, Stanley, terrible. PlayStation. I don't remember how to do it. What would be the... Oh, hydration. What would be the equivalent in this game?
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Okay, we're going to follow the narrator. Because that's how you reach the end of the game. Or the
Yet there
true
was not
ending.
a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Dude, I don't know. Like, I imagine that it would have been...
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
I remember there's one where it's like...
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of
Did I
any
already
human
get
life.
it without realizing
Shocked,
it?
unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known
Oh,
was
I
that
remember
the
this
keypad
one.
behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck.
By
Amazing.
sheer luck!
He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
There we go. Okay. Ease. Then I take the elevator down. Do 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 doom.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long. Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
We also might want to attempt the speed run with this ending.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing. This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof, the heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content, walking, eating, working, All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Okay.
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes! He had won! He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him. For it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door.
I love this game. I love this game.
Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy. All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. What could it mean? Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk. That kind of anxiety isn't healthy, so he relaxed for a few moments with some calming New Age music. Feeling soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened passageway.
I think that just ruined it for me, but I love this.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room to check on his co-workers. He never functioned well by himself and constantly needed support and guidance from others, so the thought of total solitude was terrifying to him. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
It's just so much fun to see how the narrator changes.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his... Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Okay, I think we all know the drill by now. Blah, blah, blah. Dark secrets, the keypad. Stanley pushes some buttons. Oh, hey, look, it's a new passageway. Kill surprise. Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out? Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing. This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in,
So much fun.
Stanley decided... blackness, and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes! He had won! He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How
No,
had he
screw
been
my
freed from the
coworkers.
machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him.
Yeah, no,
For
screw
it
them.
was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door. Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley...
I don't
was
know if I
happy.
made it with this. I may not have. I think I barely missed it.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of
We can do
disbelief,
this. We can do
Stanley
this.
decided to go up to his boss. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Here's the door, just go.
Thank you.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out? Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing. This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was
Okay,
happy
it's
with his
coming
boring
down. I was like,
job?
did I-
That his
Please
emotions
tell me I
had
hit
been
it.
manipulated to accept it blindly? No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable. Wasn't it?
Unthinkable.
Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided...
Now it's a waiting game.
blackness and a rising chill
Wow.
of uncertainty.
Oh my gosh! Hey Tanner, how's it
Was it over?
going?
Yes! He had won! He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away.
I actually
And yet,
don't want to get too
Even
close
as
or
the
else it might
immense
glitch
door
out on
slowly
you.
opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone?
Yes, my poor
How had he been
coworkers.
freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him. For it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand,
chillin', yeah.
but to let go.
Honestly,
No longer
things
would
are
anyone tell
really
him where to
amazing
go,
on my side.
what to
I'm
do,
closing
or
on a
how to
house
Whatever
next
life he
week
lives,
on
it will
Friday.
be his.
I got
And
engaged.
that was all he needed to know.
Life has been
It was
insane.
perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley
good
stepped
way.
through the open door. Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin.
Yeah,
The feeling
I'm
of
officially
liberation,
closing on it next
the
week.
immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right
Got
now,
a house, got a
that things were
fiance,
meant to
got a...
happen. And Stanley
Got a lot of things.
was
I don't know.
happy.
It's been like a crazy 3 to 5 months. Thank you. I appreciate it. Wait, no, why am I here? No. Okay, I've clicked on the door. I'm not playing for the... No, for sure, for sure. Can't jump. That's true. Okay. We're going to close out. We're going to come back. It's going to ask me for the time. It has been trillions of years. You are not wrong for feeling that way. Please enter the current time. "7 p.m., your favorite time of day, or could you simply not resist giving me the correct time again? After all, I know how much you enjoy setting the time correctly." Okay, now I'm curious how accurate 7 p.m. is. Let's use another slider to find out. How accurate is 7 p.m.? It's pretty accurate. You know, can I just say, regardless of the accuracy of the clock, I'm having a great time adjusting these settings. I feel like I'm learning more about you and how you like things to be set. It's good to collect data. I wish we had more sliders, but we've gone all through the sliders I have. Perhaps I can invent some new sliders to gather new data on you. Shouldn't be too hard. Yeah, let me whip a couple new ones up. Should be ready by the next time you boot up the game. Yeah, actually, I'm pretty sure. If you're talking about a year ago, then yes. Until the dog and cat are friends. Oh my gosh, wait. This looks like my roommate's dog and my cat. I want them to be best friends. Please adjust the slider until the 5 becomes the number 9. I mean, that's technically 9. Scrumptious or Cubone. Scrumptious. Do you know what time it is right now? Yes. Is the time that it is right now the correct time? Yes. But is time anyway? No. Is there anything about yourself that you haven't told me? Yes. Help. Yes. Will you come back to visit me? Yes. I don't know what happens if you choose all the wrong answers. That one's a little bit harder to feel out, if that makes any sense.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Okay. I'm going to try the fake
When Stanley
escape
came to
route.
a set
Actually,
of
I'm
two
going to go
open
to the
doors,
right.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well.
I'm going to go
Perhaps he
against
wanted to
everything
stop
that
by
he
the
tells me
employee
to do.
lounge first, just to admire it. Ah, yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this
Is that
immaculate, beautifully
blood
constructed room.
On the
Stanley simply stood here,
on the
drinking
keypad,
it all in.
horrible things happen to my coworkers.
But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
No, I didn't.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Gosh, and do not lie. If you are lying right now, stop. This one's kind of a fun one.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. But in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do, Stanley
I've
led from the
both
platform
played and beaten
plunged
Doki
to its
Doki all the way
death.
through.
Good job, Stanley. Everyone thinks you are very powerful.
I am very powerful, narrator. Shut up. I'm the most powerful being on the planet.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
Okay,
Stanley
this time I'm
decided to
gonna
go
do
to
the
meeting
exact
room.
same stuff, but not
Perhaps he
shove
had simply
myself off
missed a
of the
memo.
elevator thing. I have gotten the platinum for Doki Doki, yes.
When Stanley came to a set of two open
Nope.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well.
I did know it
Perhaps he
perfectly
wanted
well.
to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Yeah, sure.
Wow. Yes, this room. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Nah.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
You can't
Stanley,
fire
I think perhaps
perfection,
we've gotten off on the
narrator.
wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been
Oh, wait,
neglecting,
crud.
but in his eagerness to prove
It's not
that
what you
he is in
think.
control of
I
the
wasn't
story
trying to
and
do
no
that.
one
I was
gets
trying to
tell
get
him what
off
to
of
do,
it on the
Stanley
railing
leapt from the
because
platform
I noticed
and
an open
plunged to its
door.
death.
And I
Good
think it
job,
wants
Stanley.
me to...
Everyone
I can't
thinks you are very
remember.
powerful.
This is one of my favorite games. Like the original. The OG. I can't remember...
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to
I
go to
think
the
that
meeting
if I
room.
go
Perhaps
the
he had
route
simply
it
missed a
wants
memo.
me to, like if I go all the way across, then I can't reach the
When
door
Stanley
at the
came
bottom
to a
of
set
that
two
railing.
open doors. This was not the correct way to the meeting
What did I
room,
just say
and
before? I
Stanley knew
wasn't
it
going to throw
perfectly
myself
well.
off of the thing.
Perhaps he
I
wanted to
know.
stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
I know. It's
The
not my
lounge was
fault.
sublime, a work of art. But eager to get back to business, Stanley
It's
took
hard
the
to
first
time the
open door on his
jumps.
left.
Because
Stanley was
jumping
so bad at
doesn't
following
exist for
directions, It's
Stanley.
incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Yeah, see? So because
Look,
of that
Stanley, I
fence,
think
I
perhaps
have
we've
to get
gotten
it
off
when
on
it's
the
like
wrong
hanging
foot
over.
here. I'm not your enemy, really.
And go
I'm
through that
not.
open door.
I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing
I
but
have to
you
time this
all
perfect.
this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please. What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance.
Danger everywhere. No buckets past this point.
Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
No, I didn't.
Aha, perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door. I still
I'm
don't think we're
colorblind.
communicating properly. Stanley walked through the red door. Oh, thank God you are willing to listen to me.
No,
You
I'm
see that I
not.
really have wanted you to be happy all this time. The problem is all these choices. The two of us always trying to get somewhere that isn't here. Running and running and running, just the way you're doing right now. Don't you see that it's killing us, Stanley? I want it to stop. We would both be so much happier if we just stopped. And I think I have a solution. Here, let me show you.
Yeah, it's very, very similar to This Isn't a Game.
What are we looking for? Here. Yes. Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it? If we just stay right here, No, wait. Where are you going? Oh, no. Stay away from those stairs. If you hurt yourself, if you die, the game will reset. We'll lose all of this. Please, no, Stanley, let me stay here. Don't take this from me. Please, Stanley, think about what you're doing. No!
Peace out.
Oh, thank God. You lived. You had me worried there for a minute. No, what are you doing, Stanley? Please, I'm asking you not to take this away from me. I can't go back to what I was before. If you die, we'll both go back. Why are you doing this? Stanley, let's go back to the other room. Can you do
It's
that
really
for me?
depressing.
Yes, perhaps you can. Perhaps you finally see what I'm talking about. My God, is this really how much you dislike my game? That you'll throw yourself from this platform over and over to be rid of it? You are literally willing to kill yourself to keep me from being happy. Am I reading
apparently,
the situation
yes.
correctly?
Yep, you're definitely reading it correctly. Third time's the charm. Darn.
Maybe you're just getting a kick out of it. I don't know anymore. I just wanted us to get along. But I guess that was too much to ask. It looks like you wanted to make a choice after all. Well, this one is yours.
He is so depressed. I know. It's okay. He'll go back to his normal self in the new playthrough.
Is it over? It's going to restart, isn't it? I'm going back. All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Oh, new content? What does that mean, new content?
Hello, and thank you for playing The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Oh,
As you
nice.
may know, The Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013 on home
I
computers.
know. I loved it.
After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over. Please, step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content.
Here we go.
Okay, so far it's an elevator. Nothing special yet, but I'm sure it's just the beginning of a mesmerizing adventure. Is it broken? What's going on here? Should we be moving somewhere or... Oh, there we go. All right, finally, at long last, it's on to the new content. I've never been more ready.
This elevator is going to crash and burn to the ground.
I have to say, initial impressions of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, mostly tedious. It's as if the... Oh, okay.
Oh, never mind.
Let's
We
see
made
the
it to
content.
the top.
Give me the content, Stanley. All right. All right, let's see it.
Oh my gosh, we can
The
jump.
circle?
Everything we ever wanted in the main game. I can finally jump. No! My boing boing is gone!
Is that it? Surely that's not all the new content. There has to be something else, right? Goodness, another elevator. Stanley, I have to say, initial impressions of this game are not positive.
Well, you
It's
have
just
no idea how
elevators
happy
and
jumping makes me,
Is this what
narrator.
passes for exciting new content? If this is new content, then I could just read you the whole dictionary. There's 20 hours of new content right there. Hell, I could counter 30 trillion. You could put that on the box. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, now with over 1,000 hours of new content. And if... Oh, wait. There's more. Very good. Yes. I knew there had to be something else. Let's see it. I'm ready for whatever it is. That's it? Oh, you've got to be kidding me. You see, Stanley? This is what happens when greedy video game developers with no respect for their fan base rush a cheap expansion to market for no reason other than to make an easy dollar. And don't get me started on the level of craftsmanship that's gone into it. In fact, I'm looking right now at the game's trophies, and it's hard to believe one of them actually says, "Test trophy, please ignore." What quality assurance department signed off on this? I'm infuriated and I'm offended, and I intend to find these people on Twitter and hold them personally accountable.
Please do.
It's my fault, Stanley. I built up too much anticipation around the new content, I'm afraid. It could never have lived up to such expectations. If you're still with me, why don't we just reset the game, and we'll try to get back to what the Stanley Parable is really about. No frills, no gimmicks. Just you and me having a great time together like always. What do you say, friend?
Oh, it actually ended up resetting it for me.
Psst! Stanley! Come over here! In the vent! I want to show you something!
Okay, he seems pretty adamant. No! Okay, I won't do anything too crazy then. I'll wait for ad break to be over. Da 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 dum. Da 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 dum. Alright. Oh, hopefully you are back, or close to back. I think probably close to
Okay,
back.
you remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content turned out to be? Well, it got me thinking about the past, and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something special and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it. Just our little secret. Take a look.
Ooh.
I call it the Memory Zone. It's where I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive the peak experiences of my life whenever I want. Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC. You see, Stanley, doesn't the Memory Zone remind you of how wonderful Stanley Parable was before it was sullied with a cheap PlayStation port? Remember
Dang.
back in October of 2013 when the game originally launched? Back then, video games had integrity. Back then, it all meant something. Oh, the waste.
Good times. It's just the pictures from various other places that we've been in. Wait, did it actually win a trophy from the British Academy of Film? No, it just stuck the name tag over it. Okay. Audience Award. Don't play for 5 years. Unachievable. I know I've gotten all of these because I remember them. Aww. I love games like this.
And over here is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable. Like this stunning triumph of games journalism, 10 out of 10 from Destructoid.com. James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote, "Where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art, Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created." Did you hear that, Stanley? Every game ever created. That's how grand and all-encompassing the original Stanley Parable was. It was literally every game ever created. It was Skyrim. It was Persona 3. It was all of them. And now
It was
it's
Persona
nothing.
3.
It's no games at all. It isn't even the Stanley Parable anymore. It's just a husk now. A lifeless husk with an hour of new elevator content.
Knocking, knowing your city. Well, that's kind of cool.
Here's another moving passage, this time from GameSpot.com. The Stanley Parable is both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games and one that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising, and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10. Don't you get it, Stanley? The game was perfect. It didn't need anything else. It didn't need new content. All they had to do was transport it in pristine
He will
condition
always
along to
be
the
disappointed
PlayStation.
with the new
Boom,
content.
done. And they couldn't even do that. Couldn't resist the urge to go meddling with a beloved franchise. These were simpler times, Stanley. But I wouldn't give to go back to have it all over again.
Wait, hang on. I don't recall this part of the memory zone before. What's this? What's down here?
Oh no, oh God, no, Stanley. It's a collection of reviews from Pressurized Gas, the extremely popular online storefront for computer games. I haven't looked at these in years. I can't even imagine what's been collecting down here.
I don't
Surely
think you
these
want to
reviews
know.
were glowing as well, weren't they?
Uh,
Honestly, I could not be bothered to play this
He's
game
talking
before
about
completion.
Steve.
The narrator is obnoxious and unfunny, with his humor and dialogue proving to be more irritating than entertaining. Unfunny! I'm not trying to be funny. I'm trying to make a serious work of art. I suppose I could write up a handful of gags to insert into the Stanley Parable, but the game is already such a densely layered web of profound philosophical insights that I can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them.
Oh my gosh. Oh, here we go again.
Okay, let's see what this one says. While the idea for the game is good, for someone who prefers non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy? Stanley? I'm not preachy, am I? You can tell me if I'm preachy. Honestly, you can. Oh, goodness.
You're
This
pretty
is actually quite
preachy.
shocking for me. I always, well, to be honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it... Well, I always thought it did. But maybe it wasn't. Oh dear. What an awful memory to have to hold on to. These black marks on my otherwise unimpeachable track record. I feel like a failure. Like I let these people down. Perhaps the Stanley Parable isn't quite as sterling as I always remembered.
Aww.
What's this one got to say? You constantly have to stop doing anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening. I wish there was a skip button. A skip button? Well, yes. Yes, I think we can do that. If I'm truly too preachy, then maybe letting you skip ahead for just a moment, surely it couldn't hurt. Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record. Only positive reviews of the Stanley Parable. That's my motto today, and it's always been my motto. I'd do anything for the customer, Stanley. Yes, a skip button we shall have.
Oh my gosh.
And here it is. Go ahead and give it a shot. I'll pop. Oh, you're back, you see. You were only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of unnecessary verbal flourishes and lengthy ruminations on the nature of choice. Well, there, sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But that's the power of the button. The minute I start to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption... Okay, welcome back, Stanley. Now, I should say that the amount of time the button has been skipping through is becoming longer and longer. That last one was, well, I want to say maybe 30, 45 minutes? It's not... Stanley! Stanley, please don't push the button again. It's been 12 hours. You've just been frozen there. I don't know why the skips are getting longer, but they're really... Oh, Stanley, you're back. You're back. Oh, my goodness. I have someone to talk to again. Stanley, I think it's been a week. Or 2 weeks. I've been sitting here all that time. Just sitting. Oh, hello. It's you. You're here again. Welcome. I have had time to think about you and about us and about everything we've been through. I've had so much time. I stopped keeping track after a year. Have you ever sat down in one place and not moved for one entire year? Let me... But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their teeth and said, entertain us. It wasn't enough.
How many years has it been?
The end is never the end, 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 is never.
Hope. Oh hey, at least there's sunlight again. Is it a radioactive bomb? Oh, nice. Oh. Oh, no. Oh, no. This can't be good. Oh. Actually, do I want to go out there? Can I just... Nope, never mind. I have to. I'm free! In the Salt Lake Desert. Like, it was actually the end of the earth, I guess. I don't know.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Oh.
Oh, good. You notice my sign. Yes, I have something very exciting to show you.
Okay, so he's going to show me this time.
You see, Stanley, I've been reflecting on the Stanley Parable and about how
There
roundly
are
disappointing
quite a
this
few.
ultra-deluxe version has turned out to be. The original Stanley Parable was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy. So forget
There
this
are quite a few.
ultra-deluxe nonsense. I say we take it one step even further. Which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time ever, the Stanley Parable 2. Yes, you see, isn't this far superior to a measly port with a few minor additions? Think of all the new territory we'll cover with a fully fledged sequel. An entirely new experience, built from the ground up. Why, there are so many possibilities.
Okay, hang on. I need to...
It could go in so many different directions. This is what fans have truly been asking for. Calling it the Stanley Parable 2 is just so much catchier than Ultra Deluxe, don't you think? Ultra Deluxe? What does it even mean? But the Stanley Parable 2.
Oh my
Now
gosh.
that's an artistic statement right there. It's future-oriented. It screams progress and innovation and long-term franchising
They're back.
potential.
2 doors. New mug.
Now, to be clear, I haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley Parable 2 is going to be, but let's take a look at some of the features I've been developing for it. I figure that if I can loosely organize a handful of interesting concepts, that surely the game will sort of naturally spring up around them. It'll all work itself out. Game development is much more of a fuzzy magic than anything scientific or logical, really.
The number 2 chat should have been at 222. That's just me. Prequel to the Stanley Parable 2 is the sequel to the Stanley Parable is the prequel to the Stanley Parable. Can't even get on a bus.
Here we
Oh,
are.
wow.
Go on, try out some of the new features.
The reassurance bucket. What?
A common complaint of the Stanley Parable was that it was confusing and paradoxical, that it engendered a chaotic sense of reckless despair in those who played it. Well, I am happy to say that after much consideration, I've engineered a clever solution to this fundamental problem with the game. It's the Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket. You see, Stanley, anytime you're holding the bucket, a sense of calm and ease will fill your mind and your heart. It's true. As long as you hold on to the bucket, the many disorienting contradictions of the Stanley Parable will feel perfectly normal and perhaps even comforting. You may even come to long for the gentle embrace of jarring cognitive dissonance while the bucket is in your arms. And to be honest, it's a much more convenient solution for me than actually redesigning the game to be less uncomfortable. Can you imagine what a pain in the ass that would be?
Oh, it would have been awful.
The bucket is the perfect solution.
Oh, I agree. I
Give
agree.
it a try. Can you feel it? The glow of comfort, even in the face of crushing despair, must already be sweeping through your body.
What is even
And in fact,
happening?
can I say that I do believe the bucket lends you an air of charisma as well? I think that just holding it has made you the slightest bit more attractive as a person. The benefits of the bucket seem to go on, don't they? All this and more await you in the Stanley Parable 2. Does anyone give out awards for most enjoyable bucket in a video game? That really should be an award if it isn't already.
Ooh, trophy. Oh, the
Now,
lava.
here's something special. You remember that broken test trophy that got left in the game on accident? Well, I'm developing a technology to simply give you the trophy. Yes, you see, you're... Okay, perhaps I should have clarified. This is technology that will exist. Right now, the trophy is still fully broken. I'm not a wizard, Stanley.
but I guarantee it will be fixed in the sequel to at last satisfy the hordes of ravenous fans all over the world who have been uproariously demanding this feature. Gamers, we hear you, and I promise it will happen. What else? What other exhibits haven't we seen yet?
Can I find them?
Ah, collectibles. Now it's a real video game. In the Stanley Parable 2, you'll run around gathering up these miniature Stanley figurines. And what's truly innovative is that there will be no reward for collecting all of them. I don't want to stifle the intrinsic joy of watching a number go up. You simply collect all of them, and then you move the hell on with your unremarkable life.
They are loving Stanley.
God, it really is the worst when you collect everything in a video game and then they give you a big fancy reward for it. Absolutely tragic.
And we have to try and find them.
You know what? Let's bring the jump circle back for Stanley Parable 2 as well. It's a... Oh, wait. You already spent all your jumps the first time we saw the jump circle? Oh well. I suppose it can just be a nice decorative piece then.
Epilogue. I am here. Wait, infinite hole? Where's the infinite hole? It won't end. Oh, the infinite hole.
Stanley, here's an idea that I'm truly fond of. It's never been done before in a video game. This is in fact a hole that you can fall down forever. That's right, infinite falling. You can fall until the end of time if you like. A stunning leap forward for video games as a medium. You see, isn't it wonderful? One of my more ingenious concoctions, if I do say so. Now then, since you've gotten to see the infinite hole, you can press the teleport button to pop back up to the top, and we can continue onward.
I kind of want to stay here for a little bit.
Now, I don't mean to be a bummer, but I do recommend you use the teleport button to go back to the top. Maybe do it on the sooner rather than later spectrum of things. Okay, Stanley, I don't know quite how to say this tactfully, but it's possible that I slightly exaggerated the infinite nature of the hole. Is it a very, very deep hole? To be certain it is. It's an extremely deep hole. I don't want anyone to say that it isn't an astonishingly deep hole. It is. Is it infinite? Well, that sort of depends on your definition of infinity.
Oh no.
From one perspective, the infinite is merely philosophical in nature. It's more of a... Okay, well, good for you. You found the bottom of the hole. You found me out, Stanley. I'm a liar and a cheat, and you're so clever. Look, I think the issue here is just that you're unusually fascinated by falling.
I do like falling.
What normal person actually wants to fall infinitely? I figured the hole was as deep as anyone would actually
Every
need.
pause
Don't you
button
put
to
this
say
on
Roman
me.
numeral
Maybe
2.
you're the problem. Look,
Just the
things
two
got a
of
little
us.
heated there.
We
I think
can
we both
make
said
it
some
if we
things we
try.
didn't with me,
just the
why
two
don't
of
we just
us.
put all this behind us and
Building
agree to
castles
just
in
call
the
the
sky,
whole
just the
mostly
two of us.
infinite? If that works for you, then go ahead and press the teleport button to warp up to the top of the hole and we can move on. I'll just be up here when you're ready.
Great. Now, I'm very excited to show you even more of my ideas for the sequel.
I mean, there's not much more for you to show me. I guess you could talk to me about the merch. Oh, that's right. I didn't get it to say my name yet.
For the Stanley Parable 2, I asked myself, what do players really want? And of course, the first and most obvious answer is that they want to be individually recognized and validated as people. So with that in mind, my first addition to the game is this button which speaks the name of the person playing the game. Isn't that wonderful?
I wonder if this will use my real name. You know what? It'll be fine.
Sorry, I should have clarified. Right now, the button only says the name Jim. But of course, in the final game, this button will say your name, whatever name that is. Here, let's have you role-play as Jim to really simulate the full experience of this feature. Just play along. I promise you'll love it. Okay, here we go. Let's take a deep breath, clear your mind,
am Jim.
forget whoever you are, and simply become a person named Jim.
Jim.
Whoa, hold on. I wasn't finished setting up the backstory. If you don't properly roleplay as Jim, then you'll never understand the impact of this button.
Oh my gosh,
Otherwise,
you're
it's
so
just
right.
a
I'm
stupid
so
button that
sorry.
says somebody else's name. Okay, we're doing it again, and this time let me finish first.
Yes, of course.
Now, allow yourself to become Jim.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine yourself driving to work as Jim, playing frisbee on the weekends as Jim,
Yes.
staying up all night for a popcorn and horror movie sleepover as Jim, developing a crippling substance addiction as Jim,
That went dark.
rediscovering yourself through fringe religious groups as Jim,
We're still in
and
dark
finally
territory.
dying a slow death at
Holy
an old
smokes.
age.
Okay,
So
whatever, Jim.
all right, fine, whatever. It's just a meaningless button that says Jim. Are you happy now? Get out of here. I'm done with this button. Why don't you go humiliate me in front of a different feature that I worked very hard on?
Jim.
See, if you'd only played along, that would have been your name the button says, but no. Instead, I can't even think about it.
Jim.
I'm taking the Jim button away.
No.
Jim.
Spoil sport.
Maybe I'll only let people named Jim play the Stanley Parable 2. They would appreciate what I've created here. An epilogue would be fun, wouldn't it, Stanley? Yes, it would go at the end of the, well, we'll figure that out later. Ah, I can see you've gotten the Settings World Champion trophy. Well done. You've experienced every setting, traveled to all corners of the settings menu. There's nothing you haven't seen. So just for you, in the Stanley Parable 2, I'm including an entirely new setting, something called Bumpscosity. What exactly is Bumpscosity? Well, I haven't quite figured that part out
It's
yet,
how
but
much
I
I
know
ricochet
that
after
you'll be
running
able
into
to adjust it
items.
on some sort of slider, and that it'll be accessible from the settings menu. We'll sort out the rest of the details later. I hope you're looking forward to trying out every level of Bumpscosity in the Stanley Parable 2.
think I've gotten everything. So I'm going to go to the exit.
All right. Have you seen everything you wanted to? Ready to move on now?
We have a reassurance bucket.
So, Stanley, what do you think? Do you like all of the new features? Yes, I know it's not exactly clear yet how exactly these features will come together as one single coherent video game, but I can feel it in my soul. It's going to work. There's definitely a good game in there somewhere. Say, let's do an experiment. I'll arrange these new features together, and we'll see whether or not it coheres into a meaningful gameplay experience.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. Are you ready? Here it is. I give you the Stanley Parable 2. I mean, there's potential here, right? It's sort of... Okay, never mind. Hold on. Let me do a different arrangement. Okay, yes, this is much better. I feel
Poor
good.
narrator.
Here we go. Version 2.
Hi, how's it going? Yeah, it's the Stanley Parable
Who
Deluxe
am I
Edition.
kidding, Stanley? This isn't a coherent video game at all. It's a lot of gags. And I do
wasn't
very much
expecting you to
enjoy
be here,
creating
Odin.
gags, but they don't add up to anything.
Ah.
I wanted more than anything to create a sequel that would capture all the magic of the first game. I wanted fans to love it. No matter how good these gags are, they won't stand on their own. They would need the structure and the gameplay of the original.
Brown
Wait.
James.
Maybe that's it. I can take the original Stanley Parable and simply, well, insert a few of my new features into it. Tastefully, of course. With respect. With care for the vision and integrity of the original game. Would it possibly work? I suppose it could. But it would need a really, really tremendous title screen. A title screen that says with bold and uncompromising conviction, "This is the Stanley Parable 2.
You could just put 2.
Let me see if I can whip something up. All right, perfect. Go ahead. Take a look.
Oh my gosh. Begin the game.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee
Just in
number
case for all of y'all that
427.
have not seen it yet.
Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him
He's
through
really
a
great
monitor
at
at his
pushing
desk,
buttons.
telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
Okay, we need to try
Stanley
and
decided to
find-
go to the meeting room. Perhaps Stanley picked up the bucket.
Need to try and find the
Stanley clutched the
collectibles.
bucket tightly to his... This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than the meeting room? Yes, Stanley
Yes.
thought to himself. Yes, perhaps it truly was. How insightful the bucket turned out to be.
No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No, said the bucket. Don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
Oh my gosh, there's a collectible over here.
You found one of them. One of the miniature Stanley figurines. Remember, no
Ooh.
reward for collecting all of these. Only
got
the
him.
intrinsic pleasure of a job well done. You can't buy that sort of happiness, Stanley. God knows I've tried. So, I implore you to savor each and every moment you come across one of these beautiful figurines.
Oh, where am I going? What?
Okay, this is day number 295. Tape number... I don't even know. I've lost track. Nothing feels real anymore.
Everything's a lie.
The longer I study this bucket, the less sense anything makes. The sheer euphoria I feel every time I pick it up. No matter how many times I've done it, it's always the same feeling. And the emptiness in my chest when I set it down. It doesn't make sense. There's no explanation for it. I still haven't figured out why I see the world so differently when this bucket is in my arms. Why
We've lost it.
everything feels so...
Wonderful.
What do I do with this treasure? I can monetize it. Yes. It's unthinkable the amounts of money people will pay for even just an hour with the bucket. This is my golden ticket. But I have to be careful, because as soon as this gets out, there's going to be a target on my back.
Oh, yep.
Even now, I don't know who might be trying to get me.
Oh no.
What's that? Who's there? Caporata.
What? Man, they've added a ton of lore.
Stanley had never seen the office this brightly lit. Was it a sign of something? He hoped it...
Stanley lifted the bucket into his arms, and a wave of comfort rushed over him. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his... This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than the meeting room? Yes, Stanley thought to himself. Yes, perhaps it truly was. How insightful the bucket turned out to be.
I love the bucket.
No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Good,
Said the bucket.
now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this
That's
obvious
because
fact.
you have the
He was
wrong
firmly
kind of
convinced that the
bucket.
bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked. No, stop. Look there on the wall. You see, there's a sign right there. It says, no buckets past this point. Stanley, how could you think it was okay to bring the bucket here? Unless, what if the problem is that you actually don't know what is a bucket and what isn't a bucket? I suppose that would explain a lot about your behavior up to this point. Which, if that's true, well, my goodness, I think we have to do something about it. This misunderstanding could have dire consequences on the entire rest of the game if not addressed quickly and properly. So much of the impact of the story is dependent on your understanding of what is and isn't a bucket. Please, step in here for a moment.
Oh my gosh, I can't. Is this a
Now
bucket?
then,
Is water
I'm going to
wet?
run you through some test scenarios, and you'll tell me whether or not the thing I'm showing you is a bucket. Simple enough, right? This should tell us everything we'll ever need to know about what is or is not a bucket. Okay, let's begin. Item 1. Is this a bucket? Correct. It is a hologram of a bucket, not an actual bucket.
Oh, okay.
Item 2. Is this a bucket? Correct. It is a 3D printed recreation of a bucket, not an actual bucket.
I mean, I was just hitting X's to make a joke.
Item 3. Is this a bucket? Correct. This is a bucket. Item 4. Is this a bucket? What? Are you hallucinating? This is a tractor. It's an enormous machine that tills the earth. I
Yeah,
thought
it
this
looks
was
like
a
a
gimmick.
bucket.
How on earth did you manage to screw it up? Absolutely incredible. Let's just move on to the next one. Is this a bucket? Correct. This is a bucket. Item 6. Is this a bucket? Trick question. Both. Gotcha. Item... Wait, hold on. I can't find the next one. Let me see. It should be around
How
here
many
somewhere.
more buckets?
Okay, you and I both know there isn't anything here. And I don't appreciate the implication that nothing is a bucket when we both clearly know that a bucket is something, and therefore nothing could possibly be something. Unless, in your twisted mind, have you somehow convinced yourself that a bucket is nothing? Answer me straight, Stanley. Do you believe that nothing is a bucket?
Life's like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get.
You know what? I'm too confused to even sort it out. I've lost all sense of perspective. What is a bucket? What isn't a bucket? Mere moments ago I could answer these questions with confidence. And yet now I'm somewhat adrift. Do any of us know what a bucket is? Am I a bucket? Stanley, I can't keep doing this. I'm losing myself, and myself was all I ever had to begin with. I'm afraid the bucket is threatening to tear our relationship apart. I can't have that. I'm sorry. But I'm going to erase all buckets from the game entirely.
No!
Okay, here we go.
No! No! It took away my comfort
What
bucket!
happened? Is everything gone? Why did everything disappear? Wait, was everything a bucket? Every single
Everything's
thing in
a
the game is
bucket.
Oh my God, I had no idea.
Bring
How
it
could-
back.
Except me. I'm not a bucket after all. And you, Stanley, you're still here. You're not a bucket either. Oh, this is wonderful news. We're not buckets. Yes, I actually feel much more at ease right now. It's delightful to get some clarity on that issue, but it doesn't change the fact that we haven't got a game. So, tell you what,
I'll reset everything and we'll put back all of the buckets, okay?
Thank you.
And we'll know that it's all a bucket. But if you run into anyone else, maybe don't mention that. Who knows what that information might do to a person? All right, here we go.
I want my comfort bucket. I can't take it this next time though because I need to go.
Someone was following Stanley. He was sure of it. If he checked over his shoulder now, he would surely catch them. It was only a matter of time.
I don't like the implication.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to
Incorrect.
admire it. The lounge was grand, majestic, perhaps, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Nope.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's
it's
someone you've been
called
neglecting, Stanley.
The
Someone you
Stanley
forgot.
Parable for a
Really?
reason.
I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others?
Oops.
Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on...
Another miniature Stanley figurine. This, you know, there really must be a snappier name for these things. What about mini stands?
Mini
Stanley
stands!
things.
Stanny Mins!
What about Stanlerines? Yes, I think I like that. Another Stanlerine under your belt.
Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
I'll go
Oh,
through that
thank
this
God
time.
you are willing to listen to me. Do you see that I really have wanted you to be happy all this time? The problem is all these choices. The two of us always trying to get somewhere that isn't here. Running and running and running, just the way you're doing right now. Don't you see that it's killing us, Stanley? I wanted to stop. We would both be so much happier if we just stopped. And I think I have a solution. Here, let me show you.
The pretty light room. Pretty light room.
What do we want? What are we looking for? Here. Yes. Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it? If we just stay right here, right in this moment with this place, Stanley, I think I feel happy. I actually feel happy.
I get it. It's a nice, glowy room. How couldn't you love this?
No, wait. Where are you?
I don't want to do that to him again.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Okay, we are going to go to the meeting room.
When Stanley
this
came
time,
to a set of 2 open
because
doors,
we've
he entered the
practically
door on
done
his
everything
left.
on that side. Press the completionist. instinct there will be a reward for finding them all. Where is it?
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned
was
around
worth a
and
shot.
got back on track.
Or is it?
There was nothing here. No choice to make, no path to follow, just an empty broom closet. No reason to still be here. It was baffling that Stanley was still just sitting in the broom closet. He wasn't even doing anything. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Lately, I'm going back to the
All that
name of
down.
these little Stanley figurines, and now I'm torn between Stanlerines and Figlies. What do you think, Stanley?
No.
What name better
Many
encapsulates the
Stans.
intrinsic sense of happiness that you get from seeing a small
Stan
number in the
Mannies.
corner of your screen go up by 1? Let me sit on it. I'm sure it will come to me. You're getting close now, Stanley. You've nearly gotten all of the Figler Anlerines. Very soon, you'll collect the last one, and then the first number will equal the second number, and that will be it. We'll be different people by then. Different in the sense that we used to
Will we?
have none of them. And
Will we
now
actually?
we have them all. You can't go back to
I
when you
wanna
had
read-
no
I wanna
Figler
read the statement
Anlerines.
that's on the
None
back.
of us can.
Okay. Because the boss knows that what the boss says goes. If the boss has suffered losses, then that's what the boss chose. What a nice little rhyme. I love it.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth. Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just
Oh my
let the
gosh,
narrator
you're
talk.
so annoying.
That
Go
kind
ahead.
of anxiety isn't healthy.
Go
so
ahead,
he
play the
relaxed
music.
for a few moments with some calming new age music. Feeling soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened passageway.
Yes. Okay.
And there it is, the last Stiggly Wiggly. Savor this moment, Stanley. This is a real accomplishment. This is doing something just for the sake of doing it. Where so many people expect to be rewarded for the most trivial achievements, you've insisted that a job well done is its own reward. I would tell you that I'm proud of you for collecting them all, but that would be like a reward, and we can't have that. So, instead I'll just say, it's done. We're all done here. And now we can go to whatever the hell you were doing before you hunted for figurines.
That's right. I do have to go. So I'm going to go under, be right back, because in order to get one of the trophies, you have to send your date to 10 years in the future. I think. Thought that was one of them. Oh, don't play it for 10 years. Whoops. Hahaha. My bad. System. Date and time. Set manually. Set it back to 2025. Okay. Go back, go back, go back. And since I collected the last stand, dude, I will go ahead and change this. Date and time, set date and time, set manually. 35, okay. Open it. Will it give it to me? I don't know if it will. I might have to go and set it to even... What time is it? Does anyone really, truly know? Of course they don't. Nobody knows anything. You and I don't even know each other. We're like strangers. Sure. I've adjusted all of the game's settings to your exact specifications, but who hasn't? Just what I do, like a day job. And now, the job is over. There's no more information for me to gather. I've collected all the data on you that I can, and I still really don't know you. And you don't know me. And neither of us know what time it is. I guess some settings are just unsettable. If I'm being really honest, the clock doesn't do anything in the game anyway. You won't have me here when the game starts next time, but that's okay. Video games were meant to be played alone. You like being alone, don't you? That's maybe the only information I've really learned about you. Well, it's time for me to leave. There is still one more setting that we need to adjust, but it may take a little time before I'm ready for that. It's not really in my job description, but that's okay. Perhaps you'll see me again, if you can find me. Talk soon. I just... I might be able to do this without doing anything weird. Let's see here. System, date and time. And I set it to Wednesday. That would have made it the 7th. So at least make it 2025 again. And let's go ahead and make it 12 a.m. Okay. Okay, so
Stanley, I'm sorry, but I have to put a pause on things. It's those figurines. Those figglers. I haven't stopped thinking about them since you nabbed every last one. Wasn't it just the most intrinsically fulfilling moment of your entire life?
Oh,
Didn't
yeah,
it fill you to the
definitely.
brim with inner richness? Yes, I know we're supposed to be telling a story, but won't you please indulge me with one more trip back to the memory zone? I would love nothing more than to revisit the figurines. Just one more time.
sure, buddy. When Stanley found the collectibles.
Here's where it all began. The first collectible. Back then, we had no idea of how many of them we'd find. Sure, it said 6 right there on the screen, but how could we know for certain? We were so innocent. We'll never be like that again, Stanley. And here was a second Stan Loreen. You found this one all on your own, just by poking around in the warehouse. You did that, Stanley. I'll be honest. Back then I had no faith in you to find any of them, let alone 6. But you continue to surprise me in all sorts of mundane, unremarkable ways. Okay, let's do a little quiz. Which of these rooms was the room you found your third mini Stan? Can you remember?
Yes. I mean, it only happened
that's
30 minutes
exactly
ago.
right. It was here by the red and blue doors. It was the third one. You picked it up, and then after that, you had 3 of them. I'm glad these moments are so crystal clear in your memory, but I shouldn't be surprised. After all, science tells us that it's impossible to forget your third time doing anything. Let's see, what came next? Oh yes, we found a Figley in this pink room. Oh, well, I can't actually say I remember being in this room, but it's here in the memory zone, so it must have happened. This was a 5th mini Stan, and this one was really something special. It was in the boss's bathroom. I remember it so clearly.
There was a
In
poem
fact,
here.
because this one is particularly special to me, I made a little video to commemorate the occasion. Enjoy.
Oh my gosh. What's with the grainy video? Me and the boss, we go way back. That's Boy the narrator.
Takes you back, doesn't it? I spent a lot of time making that video, but it was 8 minutes I wouldn't have spent on anything else. And then, Stanley, then we came to the last collectible, the final figurine, right here behind the boss's office. This memory is the most distinct and clear in my mind, perhaps because it was the one that happened more recently than all the others. Who can truly say how the mind works? All I know is that this is the moment where you picked up a Figley and I thought to myself, yes, that's all of them. They're all collected. It was a moment unlike any other. Except for the other moments picking up figurines, which it was exactly like. And then there was no more, because we've caught up to the present moment. Nothing left to do but move onward into the future. Goodbye, Memory Zone.
What the heck?
No, I'm not done. I'm not ready to move on. Stop the loading screen. Isn't there some way we can stay here, keep enjoying these figurines? Let's just go backwards. We'll do the memory zone again from the opposite direction. See how that feels. Okay, yes, the back of the boss's office. I remember this. I must say, of all the figurines we looked at in our initial tour of the memory zone, this one is the most distinct and clear in my mind. Let's keep going. I want more.
Don't you dare
And
give me
here's
the-
where I made that video. Don't you remember the video we watched?
Okay, at least it's sped up. Okay, alright, I can get
Yes,
behind that.
I love that video.
Yeah, it was such a nice video.
Still don't remember the pink room, Stanley. Still no memory of this one. Good room, though. A solid room. These really were a treat to hunt down. You know, if there had been any kind of reward for finding all of these, it really would have neutered the intrinsic joy of collecting them. I'm very glad we resisted the temptation. Next one. This was our second Figley. Don't you remember? Yes, I remember it too. The past is truly a wonderful thing. Why does anyone ever choose to leave it? Keep going. This is it. The very first one we found in the exhibit where I introduced you to the Figlarines. Oh, I want more memories, Stanley. I want to keep going. What else is there? What came before this?
The jumping circle?
Look, it's the terrible new content that we were originally sold on. I remember hating it back then, but time does put a rosy filter on everything.
I
In
know,
fact,
right?
I dare say I'm actually quite fond of it now. Look how much fun. Oh, yes, the two doors. Who could have forgotten that? A classic memory, this one. And before everything else, there was your office. Is there anything else? Was there something that came before your office? There's something I feel I can remember. I can remember. Yes, I'm remembering something now. I remember before this whole story got started. Back then I was different. I used to make big decisions. I was passionate. I was skeptical. I weighed each decision with profound thoughtfulness. And then somewhere along the way, I stopped making decisions. I became lazy. And I came up with a character named Stanley to do my thinking for me. He would make the decisions. He would decide which way to go. I would cheer him on as he collected figurines for no reason. Why did I invent Stanley? Was I lonely? Yes, perhaps that's it. Perhaps I needed to imagine I had companionship. And Stanley really did make for a wonderful companion, even if he was a fiction. But I suppose it's grown old. I want to think for myself again. I want to go back to how it used to be. Yes, I can be on my own again. I can do it.
You go do
I'll be
you,
stronger
Glen
this time.
Coco.
I'll take care of myself. I don't need Stanley anymore. Oh, but he truly was so much fun to play with. You know what? Since we're in the memory zone, how about one more good memory? Let's go back just once and give Stanley one more run of the office, and then I'll retire him for good. I did enjoy telling his story so very much. Okay, here we go. This is the story of a man named Stanley.
Oh, we have the epilogue. Wait, no. We're going to save this. We're going to save this for a different playthrough. What I'm going to go ahead and do is I need to leave this running
This is
for 24 hours. So let me go ahead and make it so my PlayStation will not turn off. Because unfortunately, it needs to stay on for 24 hours. Woo! Great. Can't wait for that. I think I'm right. I am indeed right. So, I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna let this run for forever. I will eventually just kind of get it by leaving my PlayStation on overnight. But anyway, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and head off. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Oh, whoops. Don't mind that. Don't mind any of that. Bye-bye.